The inauguration of Donald Trump in January 2025 brought significant global attention, but an unexpected move by China shocked the international community, particularly the United States. China announced a surprising new export ban, escalating tensions between the two economic superpowers. This bold decision was widely interpreted as a strong message to the incoming Trump administration, which had previously adopted a tough stance on Beijing. The move left international observers speculating about China's strategic intentions and raised concerns about its potential impact on the global economy and the future of U.S.-China relations. The question that emerged was clear: would the U.S. economy collapse in 2025 as a result of this growing conflict? To fully understand the implications of China's decision and the broader context, it is essential to delve into the historical and current dynamics of the U.S.-China trade relationship. The rising trade tensions show the United States has long implemented strict export controls to limit China's access to critical technologies, particularly in the fields of semiconductors and artificial intelligence. These measures have included blacklisting major Chinese companies such as Huawei and SMIC, expanding foreign direct product rules, and restricting the export of advanced semiconductor manufacturing equipment. The primary aim of these measures has been to safeguard national security and maintain the U.S.'s technological advantage. China, in response, escalated tensions by imposing its own export bans on resources deemed strategically significant for advanced technology and defense. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce framed these measures as a reaction to the U.S.'s increasingly stringent technology sanctions. This tit-for-tat escalation of trade restrictions has deepened the economic and political divide between the two nations. Historical context: trade wars and their impacts. Trade wars are not a new phenomenon. They have been a recurring feature of international relations throughout history, with significant political and economic consequences. One notable example is the Opium Wars of the 19th century, which stemmed from trade disputes between China and Western powers, particularly Britain. These wars resulted in severe damage to China's sovereignty and shaped its relationships with Western nations for decades. During the 18th century, Chinese products such as porcelain, silk, and tea were highly sought after in Europe, leading to a significant trade imbalance. Silver flowed into China as European demand for these goods surged. To address this imbalance, the British East India Company began exporting opium from India to China, causing widespread addiction and social problems. In response, the Qing dynasty banned opium in 1796 and 1800, but smuggling continued. By 1839, the Qing government took a hard stance, appointing Lin Zexu to eradicate the opium trade. Lin's destruction of large quantities of opium led Britain to retaliate militarily, culminating in the Treaty of Nanking in 1842. This treaty ceded Hong Kong to Britain, opened multiple ports for trade, and required China to pay war indemnities. The conflict persisted into the Second Opium War 1856 to 1860, during which China faced additional losses. Treaties like the Treaty of Tianjin and the Convention of Peking legalized the opium trade, expanded treaty ports, and allowed foreign embassies in Beijing. These events marked the beginning of China's century of humiliation, during which unequal treaties significantly undermined its sovereignty. Another historical trade conflict occurred in the 20th century with the U.S.'s Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. This protectionist measure, intended to support American businesses during the Great Depression, raised tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods. However, it backfired by prompting retaliatory actions from trade partners, exacerbating the global economic downturn. Countries like Canada imposed their own tariffs, leading to a drastic reduction in global trade and worsening the effects of the Depression. Today, economists widely regard the Smoot-Hawley Act as a policy failure that highlights the risks of protectionism. In the 1960s, another notable trade conflict, the Chicken War, rose between the U.S. and the European Union. European countries imposed tariffs on U.S. chicken imports to protect their domestic poultry industries, prompting the U.S. to retaliate with tariffs on European imports, including light trucks. This chicken tax had lasting effects, as the 25% tariff on light trucks remains in place today, influencing global competition in the automotive industry. The modern trade war in recent years. Trade tensions between the U.S. and China have taken center stage. During President Donald Trump's first term, the U.S. invoked Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 to address issues such as intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and unfair trade practices. The U.S. trade deficit with China, which exceeded $375 billion in 2017, further fueled the conflict. The first round of tariffs in 2018 targeted $34 billion worth of Chinese exports, including machinery and electronics. China quickly retaliated, with tariffs on key U.S. agricultural products such as soybeans and pork. By 2019, the U.S. had expanded tariffs to cover $550 billion worth of Chinese imports, including consumer goods like electronics and textiles. China responded with tariffs on $85 billion worth of U.S. exports. These measures disrupted trade, increased costs for U.S. companies, and ultimately passed the burden on to consumers. The shift in China's strategy. China has responded to U.S. export restrictions by prioritizing self-reliance with strong government support. Chinese companies like SMIC have made significant advancements in semiconductor manufacturing. The country has also achieved breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and telecommunications, showcasing its competitiveness in the tech sector. Initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative have further strengthened China's global partnerships and reduced its reliance on U.S. technology. Major U.S. tech companies, including NVIDIA, AMD, and Lam Research, have faced significant revenue declines due to restricted access to the Chinese market. Meanwhile, Chinese firms have launched advanced technology products, such as Huawei's AI chips and smartphones, demonstrating their ability to compete on the global stage. The long-term implications. While U.S. export restrictions aim to curtail China's technological growth, they have also inflicted significant losses on American companies and reduced the U.S.'s global competitiveness. The trade war has underscored the risks of protectionist policies, including the potential for economic retaliation and long-term economic repercussions. China's emphasis on domestic innovation and global collaboration has allowed it to achieve remarkable progress across various industries. However, the escalating tensions between the U.S. and China have created significant uncertainties for the global economy. As both nations continue to vie for economic and technological dominance, the future of their relationship remains uncertain, with far-reaching implications for international trade and economic stability. In conclusion, the trade war between the U.S. and China is a complex and multifaceted issue with deep historical roots and significant modern implications. While both nations seek to protect their economic interests and maintain their global influence, the consequences of their actions will likely reverberate across the global economy for years to come.